weren't a professional eventer, what would you do?
If I wasn't,
Yeah.
Gosh, that's a difficult question. What would I do? I always wanted to be a vet, like everybody. I don't know. I quite like dressage and show jumping as well. So I would probably do something along those lines. Because I'm not eventing, I'll probably go into that anyway.
Yeah. Okay. How did you get into
Oh,
horses?
traveling. Sorry.
How did you get into horses?
I wasn't planning to work with horses. I was working for my dad, helping him in the workshop, and I needed some pocket money. And somebody around the corner had a yard. I had a pony. We had a pony that we used to ride at home on loan. He was an old. Oops, it's gone again. Still there?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I've got like 3 bars. So we had this pony, he was a driving pony, and we used to play about with him at the weekends and things. And then I wanted some extra pocket money, so I then ended up doing some weekend work at a yard, an event yard around the corner. Didn't really know, I just did it for the money really. And I liked animals, I've always liked animals. And then it kind of went from there. Then I went to college, did a first year diploma at Writtle College. And then I could have stayed on and done more, but I felt like I wasn't really learning enough, because I'd rather do, you want more practical work.
Yeah.
It's more the practical physical side of it more than I think the paperwork. So I then went back to the yard that I was working at the weekends, and then did an apprenticeship and worked there. And then I got into eventing, kind of got the bug, decided that I wanted to have a go at it, and then I never looked back. So, yeah.
Very cool, yeah. What has been your favourite horsey experience?
My favourite horsey experience?
Yeah.
Gosh, I've had loads. Last year was a really good year for me. We went to Tattersalls in Ireland, and also went to Mill Street. That was a really good experience. Really enjoyed that. That was so much fun. The Irish are great, great laugh and have good parties, and they're really friendly. The events are brilliant. And prior to that, I went to Buccalow with a friend who was eventing. And I'd actually broken my hand at that point, so it was kind of a bit of a holiday for me, and that was amazing. And then the following year, I went with them to Po. She was doing the football, what's now 5-star, but 4-star then. And sort of the end of the season, really. So I kind of did my eventing, then went there a few days later, and then came back with them in the lorry, shared the driving. So yeah, they're all really good experiences, and I think you certainly get to learn a lot from watching and then going on doing it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What advice would you give to your future self?
My future self. God, these are good questions, aren't they? Well, everybody always says with horses that you never stop learning, and that you wish you knew then what you know now.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know. If I look back, I think if I was going to go and do what I did again, although I'm still doing it, I think I would want to go and work with lots of other different riders, base myself different places, maybe go abroad, work in a show jumping yard, then go and work in a dressage yard, get real mileage doing all of that, and then probably work for another top event rider.
Yeah,
I think
that's pretty like cool. Yeah.
Yeah, just get yourself worldly, and I recommend to everybody definitely do an apprenticeship. I mean, yeah, college is good fun, but I think you definitely learn more working properly with horses. Hard work, and it's always going to be hard work. And if you don't want hard work at the beginning, then you're not going to probably be that person that makes it to the top.
Yeah,
that's what I'd say.
You got to love
it.
Yeah.
To do it.
Do you have any regrets?
I kind of, again, probably in one of the yard that I was in, I was probably there too long. So a slight regret of mine is that I probably should have left a bit earlier and did what I'm doing now myself then, a few years earlier. But then I've been really successful since I've left there. So, but that's the future's kind of set for you, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I don't think you can always regret, because I look back and think what I've learned from it, and I've learned some amazing things which have put me in good stead for what I do now. Okay. So I don't really have any regrets. No. No.
It's a difficult question, that.
That is a difficult question,
yeah. How many times do you ride in a typical day?
Depends how many I've got in. Middle of the season, and depends who's helping me work that day. I've got a yard of 8 to 10 horses. At the moment, I've got 9 horses. So today, obviously, it's in quiet time. I've ridden 5 today. It's a bit of an easy day. But I've worked quite hard actually working those 5. And I've done other jobs as well. But normally, I would ride probably 8 horses a day. Depends on what we're doing, but I'll probably average 8. Because they don't all have to work every day. And obviously, by the time you get a couple of days off, then you work at the next ones. Mm-hmm. And then it depends if I'm going off and riding somewhere else as well. But I'd say 8 average probably.
Okay.
Nice number. That takes all day.
Yeah. Do you have a worst horsey experience?
Worst horsey experience? No, touch wood. Not as yet. We've all had falls and things like that. I did, quite a few years ago now, probably when it was Athens Olympics, which was a long time ago. That summer, I was going cross-country schooling at Pop Park, and I was riding a little grey horse of mine, and I fell off cross-country. And it was just literally, it was probably the last fence, and it was one of those things, I probably learnt from this actually, one of those things where you go, let's just jump that fence. They've already jumped really well, the horse, and we go, let's just jump that. And it was a narrow, skinny tyre. There's one on the right and one on the left. Jump the one on the right, fine. Jump the one on the left. And the person I was following, horse, just kind of left a bit of a leg, but was fine. And then I came in, jumped the left, and the horse left a leg, and I kind of got catapulted on the floor and broke my wrist really badly. And I kind of got up, looked at it, and it was all bent in different directions, and thought, oh, God. Oh, that'll be all right, because you kind of go into denial, really. Walked up the field, and I had broke it really badly. So that was the end of that. That was probably, that was August time. Yeah, so around Olympics, and I just then, I did actually ride, to be fair. Once it was in plaster, I then did get on and ride a bit. And then I did some catch driving stuff because I was bored. And painted jumps and the usual stuff. Yeah. And then someone else evented that horse for me. And then that was all fine. Got through the winter, really looking forward to going eventing again. And I went cross-country schooling to Little Downham, and I fell up a step and broke my collarbone. So within about 6 months, I had 2 injuries. So it's like, how do you come back from that? But actually, these things happen, don't they? And I suppose it shows what kind of person you are when you can bounce back like that. And I carried. And then, I wouldn't say it's the worst experience, it's just irritating.
Yeah, definitely.
You can't do anything about it.
How are you finding lockdown?
Frustrating. I've kept myself quite busy. I've made myself a list like everybody of other jobs that you always want to do. You try and cram in the rest of your day rather than, so if you give yourself a day off, you want to do something different on a day off. Mm-hmm. But it's a mid-season, you don't really have days off anyway. So I've tried to do things that need to do. I mended my lorry ramp. I needed to replace my lorry ramp. It was just going a bit soft in places, so I did that, which is I was quite proud of myself for doing that. I'm really pleased with it. Then I put up a new dressage arena. I've got some fencing to do that I said I'd do in the yard that I've got here, and just doing those kind of different jobs. And then with the horses, just kept them ticking over because I didn't want to give them a holiday because they were all still raring to go, and it was safer to keep them going, really.
Yeah. And
obviously now they're playing out a lot more anyway, so it's been all right. It's kind of, it's what's it called, the Corona coaster, up and down.
Something like that,
days. Yeah. I've had 2 really good days where I've been buzzing and really enjoyed working with horses and feel a bit inspired. And then we had the virtual eventing on, and I watched a bit of dressage and that today, and that was really good, and I found that quite inspiring. I've even been practicing 5-star test myself. So, yeah, I think we need to draw a close to it all, though, because I want to get going eventing now.
Yeah, I want to start competing again.
I think we're all getting itchy feet, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm a bit like when they say go, are we going to go? Oh my goodness, we're going to go now, and so mine will be ready to go. So that's fine. It's just if and when.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a favourite horse?
Yeah, I've got a horse called You Never Said. I've done about 8 X-ray sources now, and he was my first X-ray source I did, and he was amazing, and he's got an amazing jump. He's really talented. He went intermediate and 2-star, what they call 3-star now, which is a real achievement in a racehorse, especially your first one. And he should jump me out the saddle and all sorts of things. And he was eventing last year. He's 16 this year, so I don't know now with this virus thing whether I'll event him much more. It's kind of, as he's getting older and feeling things in his feet.
Yeah.
I don't want to break him as such. So he'll probably do some ROR classes, some dressage, show jumping. He's a good jumper. So yeah, I'd say he's my favourite because he's got real character. Well, his character's developed as he's kind of been with me, really. And his pet name's Gamble. So I went, God, this is a real gamble doing this. I'm taking a real gamble, and that was his name. So yeah,
That's quite cool.
He's my favourite. Yeah, he's cool.
How long have you been riding for?
I've been riding for I have to work the whole round. Over 20 years, 25 years. Yeah, about 25 years.
Okay. Who are your sponsors?
I'm still learning.
Yeah, I think everyone's still learning.
And improving, yeah.
Yeah, so who sponsors you?
I'm sponsored supported by Bailey's Horse Feeds, sponsored by Grubbs Boots, Bedsoft bedding, like hemp bedding, rape straw. I'm sponsored by TNR Autos that do my lorry. It's really handy. NAF support me. Go through my list. My local feed shop. Voltaire Saddles support me as well. Yeah, so I've got quite a few really lovely supportive sponsors, which is brilliant.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Really cool. Oh, USG, I forgot that. I shouldn't say it. USG Body Protectors, they support me, and they're really good. And they've got an air jacket, which is fantastic.
What is your biggest achievement?
Biggest achievement. I don't know. There's lots of. I've had lots of big achievements. One of my racehorses won the British Show Jumping Bronze League, so I guess that's a little achievement. Nando, horse called Fernando, belongs to Paula and David Evans, who own one of Andrew Hoy's rides, Vasily de Lossos.
Yeah.
So I was them, and he won 2-star at Chilham last year. So that was a really, really good achievement. Really cool actually. Never won an international, so yeah, that's a very big achievement. And he's a really smart horse. Hopefully, he's intermediate now, and hopefully he'll go advanced with that one. That's my plan. That was my plan, but obviously things are a little bit more tricky now.
Yeah.
Lots of little mini achievements. Yeah, Tattersalls was good. I finished in the top 20. I had a pole show. It could have been, it's always coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yeah.
All those things were achievements. Again, a racehorse to get to 2-star, go clear cross country. That was amazing. Yeah. There's still more achievements I want yet.
Why do you retrain ex-racehorses?
Why do I?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of got into it really because I was looking for a racehorse as a little project to have a go with, and obviously I took on Gamble, and he had pads on his feet and everything, and I was like, gosh, what am I doing? Where am I farrier? And he went, flipping heck, what's his feet like? They cracked because it's a hot summer. I said, no, fine. And he said, flipping heck, I get it. And then since then I had Gamble and never looked back, and I then had him. Then I had another one called Phil the Till. He had a really big parrot mouth, and I played with him for a bit and found him a lovely home. Then I had one called George. I could name all of them. Take me ages. But so what was the question? How did I get sidetracked? This is what I do. I waffle. How did I get into it, or why?
Why did you do it?
Why do you do it? I do it because it's so rewarding. You can't beat a thoroughbred. They're really quick thinking. They always want to please you. They take time. They definitely take time to teach them the job and patience. But then they'll give you everything. They're smart. They're quick learners. They're quick off the ground. Yeah, and that's why I like to retrain them. And it's just so rewarding. Just every little thing. I'm like, hacking them out, and then because at first they don't know how to free walk, and then when you start to get free walk on a racehorse, you sound, or just on the end of the rein, you kind of go, oh, I've got it now, because they've learned things like that. So, all sorts of little things. I've got a new one at the moment called Storm, and he's really smart. And there's so much things that every time you get a new one, you kind of remember from the last one how it was and what you can do, to improve them, and what things they find hard. And like I said, they're very quick thinking, so you have to sort of slow it all down a bit in a positive way. And I love it. It's great. Can't beat it. I do that all day long.
Any advice to someone who wants to compete professionally?
Again, I think get as much experience as you can when you're, because it's like, what's profession? How do you class event professional? Because obviously, as soon as you start earning from your hobby or your job or whatever, or start earning from your hobby, it's then professional, isn't it? But then I look at the top riders, like Winnie Fox-Pitt and Tina Cook and everything, and then I think they're professional. It's like they're the elite and we're professionals. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think the best advice you can say to people is, if you want to be a professional and do the job, get as much experience as you can at certain yards, and if you can move yourself around and work in different yards to get different experiences, and just be like a sponge, absorb everything you can. Just ask so many questions and learn as much as you can. Watch loads of different riders and all that kind of stuff. I think, and you've got to try a bit of everything really.
Yeah.
To know what to do and what your strengths are. Yeah.
Okay. How old were you when you got your first horse or pony?
My first pony was called Richard. He was a driving pony. And I was at school then, so I was about 13, I think, 12, 13. And before that we had one on loan called Cindy from around the corner. And then we had riding lessons before that. We used to live in Cambridge, and when we moved to where we are now, it was kind of, we were promised that we would have riding lessons when we came here, so...
When did you start riding?
Again, I started riding when I moved here, so about 10 or 11.
When did you decide to compete professionally, or like as your career?
I suppose I was working in the yard locally, doing apprenticeship, and then I kind of got a few riding jobs, like just hacking for people or schooling, and it kind of went from there. And then I had a couple of horses in for schooling, and I suppose then it kind of took off really. Then I rode a few event horses for people. I did the grassroots. Oh, that was another achievement. I forgot about that. Did the grassroots at Badminton, 2 horses. And so that's when I started doing it really. Kind of got into it.
Yeah, you just kind of gradually decide, right, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, before you know it, that's what you're doing, yeah.
Yeah. If you could be any animal, which would you be and why?
I think I'd be a cat. But a well-looked-after cat. I don't know, actually. I think I'd be happy to be a yard cat. Kind of looked-after yard cat, because you can come and go as you please.
Yeah.
Even when it's cold, there's always something to snuggle up to. I've got 2 lovely yard cats. And I always think, I love their life, because they can come and go, they can do what they like, can't they? And go where they like, do what they like, they get fed, as long as they get fed, but then they can go hunting.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah. What's the hardest part of eventing?
The hardest part, I think the hardest part is, I'd say the early mornings, not really, because then you get there and you have the buzz, and then you keep going for days. The hardest part is probably when you've had a bad day, I think, and kind of looking for the positives in a bad day, because there's always good bits even from a bad day.
Yeah.
But I think that's the hardest bit. And then maybe when you've you're coming home and somebody else, if you're with them, they've had a good day and you've had a bad day, that can be a little bit hard because you've got to support them as well.
Yeah.
And they've got to support you. So I think, that can be hard, but I think the thing is to kind of think about it, because you think about it all the journey home if you've had a bad day, what you did wrong, and, how you can make it right. It might not be you, it might be something with the horse, but you always kind of think, what can I do to improve with what had happened? Go through it over and over it for about a day, and then I think you need to then make sure you correct it, because if you're not winning, you're learning. So think about that, and then just learn from it, and then make it into a good day.
Hopefully, anyway.
I think that's the hardest thing, yeah.
Who influenced you as a child?
For horses?
Yeah, I'm assuming that's horsey.
I suppose when I was really young, I wasn't. I don't know. I used to watch. Yeah, I suppose watch badminton and Burley on the telly, and I used to love watching. I still love watching William Fox-Pitt. He's one of my heroes. William Fox-Pitt and Tina Cook. I suppose they're kind of my heroes, really, and still are. Still in awe of them, even though I can chat to them and speak to them now. You're kind of still in awe of what they do and just admire them, really.
Yeah.
And Piggy French as well. She's amazing. Oh, Ros Cantor, she's fantastic. I had a few lessons with her. So yeah, those kind of riders. But when I was a child, obviously it was like William Fox-Pitt and Tina Cook and Pippa Funnell, things like
that. Did you always want to event?
Yes, I did. I wasn't sure how I was going to do it, because obviously it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you just ride what you have to ride at the time. And when I first started eventing, I suppose I rode a couple, did hunter trials and things like that on an older horse. And I won a hunter trial once, and I got a prize which said, the book, is it? The Less Than Perfect Rider. I never forget that. So I'd won, and my book was The Less Than Perfect Rider. I was like, oh, that's great. So I just won, but if you give me a book to say how I can improve. So I did all that, and then went on to eventing. Because that's what I wanted to do, because the person I was working for was eventing, and I thought I want a little bit of that. And then you just got to find your way and do what you can. Then they had the intros got introduced, which are now like they're called the 90. And did a load of riding club stuff, loads of riding club one-day events. And then so the eventing was like the next big thing to do. And then once you get it, you're hooked and you find a way.
Yeah, I think my parents were quite scared about that.
Yeah, it's certainly expensive.
Yeah.
It was a shame. It's a shame in some ways, because there was so much riding club stuff and pony club stuff, and there's less of that now. And we still get a few around our way, you probably do around your way, and some of them are brilliant and everyone wants to go to, and they're not expensive. I mean, obviously you go BE and everything's really looked after, the ground's looked after, generally everything's really good, it's all properly dressed fences, so it is quite different, but when you've got young horses, it's quite fun to do the old riding club stuff.
Yeah.
A shame they don't do so much of it
now. Do you come from a family of riders?
No, not at all. My cousin down Devon, she used to ride, and I remember going to see them, and they had a pony, and then we were like, wow, they've got a horse, pretty cool. My sister had riding lessons as well, and my niece actually is riding. I've got a young niece who's just started riding. They live in Germany, so, and they learn a very different way. Right from the beginning, they stick them on the lunge, and they kind of can't have stirrups until they can sit properly without stirrups. It's quite interesting.
I mean, to be fair, they probably get quite a lot better, quite a lot quicker, really.
Exactly. Yeah, it's quite good. They have a special what do you call it? Special saddle pad and things. So it's like a big square thing, and they have to they have to do rising trot without stirrups and things like that.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, it's really hard.
It's
I
so
just
hard.
reminded myself of something that I could have a little go at.
Do you own any other animals?
I've got a dog called Jetty. Can you see him in his bed?
Yeah.
He's a black Labrador. He's sleepy. He's now 11. He's my best friend. And then I've got 2 yard cats called. One's called Minus Frolic, and the other one is called Opposition Buzz. Because named them after event horses. But actually, I just call them my cats.
Yeah, I was going to say it sounds more like a horse.
Yeah. Buzz and Frolic. But yeah, they're just called the boys. I haven't got anything else. No other pets.
If you could own any
Yeah.
famous horse, which would it be?
Everyone always says Biscotec Sam, or however you say it, Michael Young's horse, don't they?
Yeah, I can't say it.
That would be quite cool. I used to love watching Midnight Dazzler that Harry Mead used to ride. I just think, I'd love to have that horse. Oh, there's so many amazing horses out there, isn't there? I mean, the one Andrew Hoy's got, Vasily, would be amazing to have. I'd love to sit on it, see how he feels. But I'm really pleased with the horses I've got now. I've got some really smart horses. Yeah, and that's part of the fun. I don't know. That's a tough question. Pippa Funnell's ride that she won on at Burley. That's an amazing horse. I'd like to sit on that. Any of them. Probably have any of them in your yard. I bet they're trickier than they make out, though.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.